All right, here we go. We're off and running. Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you. We have some more breaking news to get to here on this Wednesday afternoon, November 12th. The Niners getting set to play the Arizona Cardinals on the road in this Week 11 matchup, another NFC West bout, and there's a lot of news that we're going to get into. First, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for daily and year-round coverage of the Niners. Anytime I'm in front of a camera, on a microphone, talking about San Francisco, I want the coverage to be informative, insightful, entertaining, thought-provoking. I want you to have a voice. I want this to be a community for Niner fans worldwide. I think we've been able to build something special here as we're approaching 180,000 subscribers. And when I look at the analytics, people are watching this show, taking in the content from every pocket of America and worldwide. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button, do so right now. I also put out a show a little bit earlier about some breaking news going into this game on the Cardinals front. Marvin Harrison Jr. going to be out because he had to get surgery for appendicitis. And so this is a Cardinals team that, like the Niners, is also very banged up. These are the two most injured teams in football. So Marvin Harrison Jr., he's had a touchdown in each of the last couple of games. With Jacoby Brissett, he started to play a lot better because I think the Cardinals really prefer a traditional drop-back quarterback. And Jacoby Brissett, even though he tailed off a little bit against Seattle, has played pretty well. Obviously, the Cardinals, after that Cowboys win, naming him the starter as Kyler Murray's been banged up. So MHJ has played well. And at Ohio State, he was one of the best overall players in college football. It was so weird that he started his career last year in the fashion that he did, where it looked as though he was going to be a bust to start this season. He was not playing well. Him and Kyler really had no rapport. So that's a big loss for Arizona in this game. Obviously makes the Niners' defensive job a little bit easier. Zay Jones, one of their other top wide receivers, injured his Achilles last week, so obviously he's not going to play in this game. On defense, Arizona dealing with a ton of injuries. This is a game that San Francisco should win. So I talked about that earlier on another video. Be sure to check that out in case you missed it. And then talked about the struggles of D. Winters of late. It's really odd how bad he's been over the last few weeks. Literally one of the worst linebackers in football. And then I also dove into this, how a Niners trade that they actually made has really started to work out, and that's the move for Brian Robinson. His numbers are very impressive. He's top 10 in yards after contact. He's given this team some juice, and I went through some really interesting, intriguing numbers. I want to see him on the field more, getting carries, but also on the field alongside Christian McCaffrey. So again, check that video out. We're doing all types of content here on the 49ers Report. As for the most recent breaking news, Kyle Shanahan just got done addressing the media just moments ago on this Wednesday afternoon, and he said that Brock Purdy will be limited aggressive. Now, a lot of you might hear that term and say, what the heck does that mean? Obviously, it's not one that we hear thrown around a lot by NFL head coaches, but here is the plan for the Niners and Purdy. He is going to ramp up physically in practice today. The Niners are going to see how he responds in practice today. And the hope, the expectation, is that he makes his return on Sunday to play and start against the Arizona Cardinals. And this Brock Purdy injury timeline has been pretty wild, right? Week 1 against Seattle, he was up and down, made some mistakes, turned the football over, but when it came down to it, 6 for 6 on that final drive, he found Jake Tonches to win the game for San Francisco. A huge win against a quality opponent, a Seahawks team that since that point has been one of the hottest teams in football. They are 7-1 since that opening week loss to the Niners. Brock Purdy escaped that game seemingly okay. He finished the game and looked good. Then it came out that he suffered a turf toe injury. So he sat out and did not start week 2 against the Saints. Mac Jones got the win. Did not play week 3 against the Cardinals. Mac Jones got the win. He staged a game-winning drive. Then Purdy came back against the Jaguars. Clearly did not look right. I don't think that he showed discipline coming off the injury. The Niners did not show discipline in managing the injury. Brock Purdy in that game against Jacksonville didn't look like Brock Purdy. He was moving around very gingerly on that bad toe. He couldn't drive the ball. That led to a lot of overthrows. He put the ball in harm's way, turned it over, bad picks. And the Niners turned the ball over 4 times in that game. Brock Purdy was to blame. And in that game, he re-aggravated that turf toe. Of course, the expectation after he suffered that second turf toe injury was not that he was going to play over the next couple of weeks, but legit over the last couple months, several weeks, Brock Purdy has been day to day, week to week for the last few weeks. He's been practicing in a limited fashion, but he's been going through some drills. He's been doing some footwork stuff. He's had shoulder pads on and a helmet. He's been on hand for these practices, but he was never in a spot where he could seriously start games. And so Mac Jones has now played and started in, 8 games so far this year? He is 5-3 as a starter. No, 6-3 as a starter, right? No, the Niners are 6-4. Either way, Mac started Week 1 or week 2, week 3, week 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So he started 8 games. Mac is 5-3 in those starts. He's played really well. And so he's top 5 in the NFL in passing yards per game. I think he's run Kyle Shanahan's system extremely well. He's played point guard in this system where he's distributed the football. It's not like he's been throwing during his entire starting tenure to upper echelon weapons, right? Kendrick Bourne for a long time was his wide receiver 1. Jawan Jennings has not played like he did last year. Not even close. He's killed this team. George Kittle was out for a majority of Mac Jones' starts. He only came back recently. And so I think the Niners are risking something pretty big here. And a couple things here, right? If the Niners lose this game against a shorthanded Cardinals team that they should beat, they drop to 6-5 on the year. And in a competitive NFC, this isn't a game that you can afford to lose, but if you lose it, that's a bad loss for San Francisco. And it really does throw your playoff hopes if you do lose into question. You at least enter murky, choppy waters. The other thing is, if Brock Purdy is not 100% and he's not able to move around and be mobile because that turf toe is still bothering him, and he doesn't have the same level of athleticism, pocket mobility, the ability to improvise, create plays out of structure, and to run around back there, which oftentimes has bailed out this offensive line, and he's a statue in the pocket, that makes him a worse quarterback. In turn, it makes the offense worse. And so if the Niners are throwing out a less than 100% Purdy, who's not close to 100%, that's not a better option than a 100% Mac Jones, who has played really good football this year. And you've seen why Kyle Shanahan really liked him in the pre-draft process going into the 2021 draft. Scheme fit, pocket mobility, pocket awareness, a strong arm. He might be a statue, but he can maneuver inside the pocket really well. Look no further than the touchdown that he threw against the Rams to Luke Farrell, where he bought some time and was very creative inside the tackle box with how he was able to move around. The other thing with Mac, he's such a sturdy body back there that he's been an extremely durable player. He throws with really good touch, timing, accuracy, and anticipation, probably has a better deep ball than Purdy. Now, it's not taking anything away from Purdy. I think Purdy at full strength is the better quarterback. But if he's not at full strength, are the Niners playing the better quarterback in this football game? That's what I'm concerned about, and that's the worry. Or are they just playing Purdy because they're like, well, we gave him $55 million per year this offseason on a $265 million contract. We have to play him because he's got to make good on the investment. And Purdy has probably seen Mac Jones play really well this year, that he's like, man, a quarterback controversy is starting to brew a little bit, and it's starting to simmer. You hear Adam Schefter saying last week, if Mac Jones beats the Rams, Purdy might not get his job back. You hear Tom Brady say, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm going with the hot hand. Look at what Bill Belichick did with me when Drew Bledsoe got hurt. You have Richard Sherman saying, it's going to be hard for Kyle Shanahan to pivot back to Brock Purdy if Matt continues to play this well. It's a hard decision. It's an easy decision to make for the Niners because they gave Purdy all that money, and at 100%, he's better than Mac, and I think the added element of his athleticism helps to lift this offense. But what if he looks like he did against Jacksonville, where he's overthrowing balls and he can't really move around all that well? Your offense against a team that you should beat might play worse than it would with Mac Jones, and you leave the door open for you to suffer a pretty crushing loss. Now, Kyle Shanahan said this about the availability of Purdy against the Cardinals. If he takes a big step forward this week, like he did last week, then he should have a good chance to play. And Christian McCaffrey said, quote, Brock looks like Brock. He's throwing well. He's running well. He looks good. But we'll see once Sunday comes around. More injury news for the Niners. This is actually pretty big here. Ricky Pearsall was told by the training staff that he is healthy and he's ready to go. He said, quote, trainers told me, Kyle Shanahan said, trainers told me that he's healthy. When I see it with my own eyes, he's good to go. Ricky Pearsall, like Brock Purdy, got hurt in that Week 4 game against Jacksonville. Prior to that, he was top 5 in the NFL in receiving yards. Pretty much every catch he had, except for a couple, went for a first down. Slick route runner, really deceptive, tough at the catch point, really good footwork. He can beat man, he can beat zone. He was an explosive player downfield. You know what the Niners have missed? Generating explosive plays in the pass game downfield, which obviously in turn can benefit your running game. And so Ricky Pearsall coming back is a huge addition for San Francisco here. And I had talked about this earlier in the week. The formula for the Niners to make it into the playoffs, knowing that the defense is going to struggle because they can't generate a consistent pass rush. Without Michael Williams, they're struggling against the run. The back seven against the Rams played bad. And against good to solid to great offenses, they're going to get shredded. The formula is deal with the lumps and bruises on defense, hope that they improve, but this offense has to be around 30 points per game for the rest of the season for the Niners to play their best football, to put themselves in a position to make the playoffs and be an interesting team going into the postseason. And there's a lot of value making it into the postseason. You get into the dance, anything can happen. With this young football team, get them some playoff reps. You build on that, you build off of that, and then in 2026, you're hoping that you're really ready to be back in Super Bowl contention. In an NFC where right now, I think some teams are starting to separate themselves. The Eagles, the Lions, the Seahawks, the Rams, probably the top teams in the NFC. What can the Niners do to build toward getting back into that group? Now, they beat the Rams once. They beat the Seahawks once, so I don't think they're that far away, which is why I wanted the Niners to make a move or moves at the NFL trade deadline, because they're close on defense, and I'm expecting more from this offense. Other good injury news here for the Niners. Alfred Collins going to be back as well. That was a big loss against the Rams too. Given his size, 6'5", 330, how well he played against the Rams, the big plays that he had against the Rams, the Niners felt his loss last week on Sunday as well, because the Rams were able to do anything. Throwing it, Matthew Stafford, 4 touchdowns, no picks, had all day to throw. And then the biggest thing too, the Rams were able to establish the run and find a lot of success on the ground. So this is breaking news here, obviously. I just want to make sure I'm getting to everything. Purdy, Pearsall returning on the same week should help this Niners offense. They have that rapport, of course. That's pretty much everything here. Cardinals, as I mentioned earlier, one of the most injured teams in football alongside the Niners. Zay Jones on IR. Simi Fehoko on IR. Marvin Harrison out. That's just at wide receiver. And those are their top wideouts on the team. Another cool storyline here, Purdy going to make his return in his home state of Arizona. And I'm looking at some practice clips of Purdy right now. It's raining a little bit today in Santa Clara, but he's at least doing some drop back stuff. But he's been doing that over the last few weeks. The test is really going to be when the pressure comes and he's getting blitzed or defenders are making their way toward Brock Purdy, is he going to be able to plant that foot and run around like he usually does, which makes him a special quarterback because he's an underrated athlete? Again, practice is one thing, game reps are another. You can go 90% in practice and feel pretty good. When you have to go 110% in the game and really drive that foot, how do you feel then? How does the toe react? It's a very tricky injury. So that's the breaking news here on this Wednesday afternoon. 2 videos up already on the channel from today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you all soon. Peace.